On this story, we'll be focusing on four main characters. David Parker is the first character, a 32-year-old American architect that is curious and passionate about life, whose journey leads him to a love beyond his expectations. Chinelo Okeke, who is the second character, a 28-year-old Nigerian lawyer, proud of her Igbo heritage and determined in her pursuit of love and career, caught between two worlds. Catherine Parker, David's conservative mother, very wary of cultural differences and the unknown. Then the fourth character is Chief Okeke, who is Chinelo's authoritative father, strongly rooted in tradition, conflicted about his daughter's choices. The streets of New York City are bustling as always, a vibrant mix of cultures, languages, and endless possibilities. David Parker, a well-known architect in his 30s, is rushing to an exhibition showcasing his designs at a popular gallery in Manhattan. He is confident but feels an underlying restlessness in his heart, as if something crucial is missing from his life. Surrounded by admiration for his work, David should be content, but there is a nagging void that he can't quite explain. Chinelo Okeke, in contrast, is new to New York, having flown in from Lagos, Nigeria for a business conference. She is navigating the city with a blend of excitement and curiosity. Her confidence and poise makes her stand out in the crowd. Chinelo is not just any tourist, she is a lawyer who has been invited to represent her firm at this high-end conference. Wearing a stylish yet modest Ankara dress, she brings with her the rich colors and vibrancy of Nigeria. She decided to stop by the gallery after hearing about the exhibition. As David presents his design, focusing on sleek modern architecture, his eyes wanders across the room and lands on Chinelo. They both lock eyes together for a brief moment. Chinelo stands curious but unimpressed as she examines the details of one of David's pieces. During the question and answer, she asks a pointed question, subtly challenging his approach to blending culture with modernity. David is taken aback at first, but something about her intellect and the sharpness of her observations captivated him. After the presentation, David approaches Chinelo. Their conversation begins awkwardly but gradually evolves into a deep exchange about culture, architecture, tradition, and their different worlds. David, fascinated by Chinelo's heritage, listens intently as she speaks about her life in Nigeria, the warmth of her family, and the intricacies of her culture. Chinelo, in turn, is intrigued by David's life in New York, his career, and his fascinating world. They ended up at a quiet cafe tucked away in the corner of the city. It is late and the cafe dims light adds intimacy to their conversation. David's curiosity about Nigeria grows, and Chinelo shares her favorite childhood memories of growing up in Lagos, the hustle of the market, the festive celebrations, and the sense of community that shaped her. As David and Chinelo continue to see each other, they begin to navigate the complexities of their different backgrounds. Chinelo is hesitant at first. While her heart is opening up to David, she is deeply aware of the cultural differences that might become obstacles. In Lagos, her father, Chief Okeke, is a respected businessman with strict tradition. He's always envisioned Chinelo marrying a fellow Nigerian, someone who understands the importance of their custom, tradition, values, and all. Chinelo knows that introducing David to her family will be a challenging issue. On the other side, David's mother, Catherine, isn't entirely supportive either. She's a traditional woman in her own way and right. Having grown up in a small American town, the idea of her son dating someone from a completely different background and culture feels foreign and unsettling to her. When David first mentions Chinelo, Catherine remained polite but distant. Her reservation, subtly expressed through cautions, questions, and probing concerns about their future. David and Chinelo's relationship starts to feel the strain. They argue for the first time about family, about expectations, about whether love alone can bridge the gap between the two of them. Chinelo wonders if this relationship can ever work, fearing her father's disapproval and the judgment of her community. David, too, begins to doubt, especially when his mother's concern begins to weigh on him. Despite the tension, David decided he must meet Chinelo's family. He's determined to show his commitment to her. So he travels to Nigeria. For the first time, Lagos overwhelms him with its energy. Markets bustling with colors, the rhythm of the city, the rich cultural history. Embedded in every corner, Chinelo is excited but nervous, knowing how difficult it will be for her father to accept David. When David arrives at Chief Okeke's house, the atmosphere is formal and tense. Chief Okeke remains distant, his disapproval clear. He challenges David's intentions, questioning whether he truly understands the weight of marrying into a Nigerian family and embracing its cultures and customs. The family gathering later that evening is lively and full of life, but David feels out of place. Chinelo's relative speaks in Igbo, occasionally switching to English to include him, but the gap between the family is noticeable. David tries to immerse himself in the culture, making awkward attempts at speaking Igbo and joining in the celebration and conversation. But Chief Okeke called them no, cast a shadow over the visit. Chinelo watches on, torn between her love for David and expectations of her family. Back in New York City, Chinelo met David's mothers, Catherine. The first meeting is uncomfortable, with Catherine warmth marked by formalities. She is polite, but Chinelo can sense her skepticism. During a family dinner, Catherine inadvertently makes a cultural insensitive remark, furthering the gap between them. Chinelo, true, though she was hurt, remains composed, determined to make this work. David and Chinelo relationship hits another rough patch. Chinelo contemplates whether they should end things, feeling the weight of her father's despair and Catherine's reservations too. And things start to feel awkward. She felt the weight of her father's disapproval and Catherine's reservation so fully. They argued more frequently, and the pressure of their families seeping into their once peaceful relationship. The weight of the cultural divide comes crashing down when Chinelo's father gives her an ultimatum. Chief Okeke, having heard enough of David, demands that she choose between her family and her relationship. Chinelo, torn between her love for David and the expectations of her heritage, faces the tough first decision of her life. David, too, is feeling the strain. He is frustrated with the resistance from both sides, wondering if it's worth all the pain. In a heartbreaking scene, David and Chinelo have an intense argument, both of them grappling with possibilities that their love might not be enough. In the heart of Lagos, David stands before Chief Okeke, who is seated in a grand living room surrounded by symbols of Nigerian tradition. Chinelo watches anxiously from the corner. David's voice shakes at first, but he quickly steadies himself. Speaking from the heart, he acknowledges the cultural differences and the challenges they have faced, but emphasizes his deep respect for Nigerian culture and his love for Chinelo. David explains that he doesn't intend to take Chinelo away from her roots, but he intends to care for Chinelo and also to embrace her cultures with her. He speaks of how much he has learned about Nigeria, the warmth of the people, the richness of the culture, and the pride in its heritage. He promised to honor Chinelo's tradition and to be the best partner he can be, not just to her, but her family as well. Chief Okeke listens in silence, his stern face unreadable. When David finishes, the room is heavy with tension. Chief Okeke rises from his seat and walks towards David. For a moment, David feared the worst. But when Chief Okeke places his hands on his shoulders and said, "You have shown me that you are serious," he says in a deep authoritative voice, "Love is not just about words, but about action and understanding. If you can love my daughter while respecting where she comes from, then you have my blessing." Chinelo's eyes filled with tears as she rushes to embrace her father, then turns to David. Moment later, filled with relief. David and Chinelo decided to plan a wedding that honors both their cultures and traditions. It is a massive undertaking with discussions about how to blend American and Nigerian tradition into a single harmonious celebration. Chinelo wants to wear a white wedding dress, but also desires a second ceremony where she dons traditional Igbo attire. David is eager to learn all the customs and participate fully in the ceremonies. The wedding day arrives, set against the stunning backdrop of a lush green Nigerian village. The ceremony is a breathtaking mix of cultures with guests from both America and Nigeria coming together to celebrate. The air is filled with sound of drums, laughter, and the vibrant colors of traditional Nigerian attire mixed with the elegance of American wedding fashion. The first part of the wedding takes place in a grand hall where David and Chinelo exchanges vows in a Western style ceremony. Chinelo walks down the aisle in a flowing white gown, her face glowing with happiness. David standing at the altar in a sleek tuxedo can't take his eyes off her. The room is filled with family members, friends, and well-wishers from both sides of the Atlantic. Following the Western ceremony, the scene shifts to a more traditional Nigerian wedding celebration. Chinelo changes into an elaborate Igbo outfit, done with coral beads and vibrant headpiece. David, too, wore a mixture of Western and Nigerian clothing, symbolizing both cultures. Ketchin, now fully warmed up to Chinelo, participated in the Nigerian custom, laughing and dancing alongside Chief Okeke, who has softened over time. The two families, who once seemed to be different, are now becoming one, celebrating together, embracing the beauty of love that transcends borders and traditions. David and Chinelo return to New York City, where they begin their life as a married couple. They face new challenges adjusting to each other's daily habits and routines, but they face them with patience, love, and the knowledge that they have already overcome the biggest obstacle together. Chinelo continues her legal career, representing clients both in Nigeria and the United States, while David embarks on new architectural projects, designing buildings inspired by the beauty of Nigerian structure that he has come to admire. Their home is a beautiful blend of both cultures and African art and textile mixed with sleek modern furniture, creating a space that feels uniquely theirs. They visit Nigeria often, maintaining close ties with Chinelo's family and tradition, while also staying connected to David's family in America. The couple finds joy in their new love, knowing that their love, though challenged by distance, culture, and tradition, has triumphed over all things. The moral of this story is love can conquer culture boundaries when both partners are willing to understand and embrace each other's words. Patience, communication, and respect are essential in navigating cross cultural relationships. True family support and acceptance come with time and effort as understanding and love grow. Thank you for listening.